Hi, my name is Shelly, and welcome back to another episode of Just a Girl and Her Healing podcast. If this is your first time here, welcome. Truly, I want you to know that this is a safe space, and I want you to know that you can exhale here, you can feel here, and you can just be here. If ever you get the chance, I gently encourage you to go back and listen to some of the previous episodes. There's something there for you, I promise. And if you've been here with me before, thank you. Thank you for continuing to show up, for listening. Thank you for sharing, for subscribing, for every comment, every like. It doesn't go unnoticed, and I appreciate it more than I can even put into words. So from my heart space to yours, thank you for being here. I want to start this episode a little differently today because if I'm being honest, I'm not coming from a place of having it all figured out. I'm not speaking from the mountaintop. I'm speaking from the middle, from the in-between, from that space where you're doing the work, but you can't quite see the results yet. And if you're here with me right now, if this found you at this time, I need you to understand something. My love, you're not lost. You're in the process. There's a difference because when you're lost, you don't know where you're going. But when you're in the process, you're moving even if it feels like you're standing still. And I know what it feels like to question everything in that space. To wake up and think, is any of this even working? Am I really healing? Or am I just reopening wounds over and over again? That's the part nobody really prepares you for. Healing isn't this soft, pretty, peaceful experience all the time. Sometimes it's ugly. It's exhausting. Sometimes it feels like you're going backwards instead of forward. And the hardest part, you can't always see what's changing. You can't see the boundaries forming inside you. You can't see the way your heart is slowly learning how to feel safe again. You can't see the strength you're building when you choose not to react the way you used to. But my loves, something is happening. Even when it's quiet, even when it's invincible, especially then. You want to know something? You see, I've been sitting with that truth lately. Really sitting with it. Because when you come from a place where you had to survive more than you got to live, when you grew up learning how to endure instead of feeling safe, when love felt inconsistent, distant, or conditional, you don't just wake up one day and become whole. You rebuild yourself in pieces. And let me be real with you. Rebuilding yourself is one of the loneliest things you'll ever do. Because people will still see the version of you that learned how to survive. They won't always recognize the version of you that's trying to heal. And sometimes that makes you question yourself. It makes you wonder if you're changing at all. But you are. You are changing in the moments no one claps for. You are growing in the choices that nobody sees. You are healing in the silence. And I think we completely underestimate that part a lot because as humans, we want proof. We want visible progress. We want something we can point to and say, look, I'm better now. But healing doesn't work like that. Sometimes healing looks like crying over something you thought you were over. Sometimes it looks like feeling triggered by something so small. Sometimes it feels like needing space when you used to people please. And that can feel confusing because you think, shouldn't I be past this by now? But you got to remember that healing isn't about being past something. It's about meeting yourself differently when it comes back. And I want you to know that's growth. That's the shift. And I need you to hear me when I say this. Just because you can't see the change doesn't mean it's not happening. Some of the most powerful transformations happen beneath the surface. Think about that. Even nature doesn't rush its process. A seed doesn't break through the soil the moment it's planted. There's an entire process happening underground, unseen, unnoticed, but necessary. And if you judge that seed too early, you think nothing was happening, but something is always happening. That's you right now, my love. You are in the unseen part of your becoming. And I know it's hard to stay committed to something you can't see yet. I know it's hard to keep showing up for yourself when the results doesn't feel immediate. But this is where discipline becomes deeper than motivation. Because you see, motivation comes and goes, but the decision to keep going, that's different. That's not only intentional, but also powerful. That's what changes your life. I've had moments in my own journey where I wanted to stop, where I felt like, what's the point of digging this deep into my past if it's just bringing up pain? Because let's be honest, healing your childhood wounds, that's not light work. That's not surface level. That's going back to the parts of you that didn't feel chosen, that felt abandoned, that learned to shrink, to stay quiet, to survive. And choosing to face that takes courage most people will never understand. Because it's easier to ignore it. It's easier to distract yourself. It's easier to pretend you're okay. But you didn't choose the easy route. You chose the real one. And the real one will stretch you to the core. It will break you wide open. It will force you to see things you've been avoiding for years. But it will also free you piece by piece, layer by layer. And here's a truth a lot of people don't talk about. Healing doesn't always feel like progress. Sometimes it feels like grief. Grief for the childhood you didn't have. Grief for the love you deserve but didn't receive in the way you needed. Grief for the version of you that had to grow up too fast. And when that grief comes up, it can feel like you're falling apart, but you're not. You're finally allowing yourself to feel what you didn't get to feel back then. And to me, that's not regression. That's release. And release doesn't always look strong. Sometimes it looks like tears. A lot of tears. Sometimes it looks like silence. Sometimes it looks like pulling back to protect your peace. Don't ever mistake that for weakness, my love. That's you honoring yourself in a way you were never taught to. And I'm proud of you for that. Even if nobody else sees it. Even if nobody else understands it. Because I do. I understand what it feels like to be in the deep end of your healing, where everything feels intense, where emotions hit different, where you are more aware than ever before. And that awareness it can feel overwhelming because once you see things clearly, you can't unsee them. You start recognizing patterns. You start noticing what doesn't align anymore. You start outgrowing spaces, people, and even parts of yourself. And that's a lonely place to be because growth will separate you from what you used to tolerate. And not everyone will grow with you. And that's just the painful truth. But don't let that convince you to shrink back, okay? Don't let that make you question your path because the life you're building requires a different version of you. And that version of you, she's being formed right now in the discomfort, in the uncertainty, in the moments where you feel like giving up but choose not to. That's where she's being built. Not when it's easy, not when everything makes sense, but right here in the middle of it all. So if you're listening to this and you feel tired, if you feel like you've been doing the work, but you're not seeing the results, if you feel like you're in a space where nothing is clear, I need you to open up your heart space and hold on to this. You don't have to see the whole picture to keep going, my love. You just have to trust that every step you're taking is leading somewhere meaningful. Even if it's slow, even if it's messy, even if it doesn't look the way you expected. Because sometimes the reason you can't see it yet is because it's still forming. It's still aligning for you, my love. It's still becoming something bigger than you imagined. And if you stop now, you'd miss it. You'd walk away right before the breakthrough, right before the clarity, right before the version of you that you've been working so hard to become finally steps forward. Don't stop there. Don't quit in the invisible phase, because that's where most people give up. And that's why most people never experience the full transformation. But here's the kicker. You're not most people. You're someone who chose to face yourself. You're someone who chose to heal. You're someone who chose growth over comfort. And that matters. That means something. So even if it doesn't feel like it right now, keep going. Keep choosing yourself. Keep showing up even on the days where it feels heavy as hell. Because one day, and I promise you this, you're going to look back at this version of yourself. The one who kept going when she couldn't see it. The one who stayed committed when it felt uncertain. The one who didn't give up even when it hurt. And you're going to thank her. You're going to realize that everything you were building in the dark, everything you were working through in silence, it was all shaping you. It was all preparing you, positioning you for a life that feels more aligned, more peaceful, and real. So don't rush this part. Don't try to skip the process. Don't convince yourself that nothing is happening, because something is happening. You are happening. Your growth is happening. Your healing is happening, even if you can't see it yet. So take a breath, my love. Ground yourself in this moment and remind yourself, just because I can't see it doesn't mean it's not working. Just because I can't feel it fully yet doesn't mean it's not real. Just because it's taken time doesn't mean it's not worth it. And before I let you go, I don't want to end this episode here, because I know how easy it is to hear something like this, feel it in the moment, and then you go right back into your life where the doubt starts creeping in again. So let me take this moment and sit with you a little longer. Let me talk to the part of you that's extremely tired. The part of you that's been holding it together for so long. The part of you that's been strong for everyone else. The part of you that quietly wonders, how much longer do I have to keep doing this? My loves, I see you. And most importantly, you need to start seeing you too. Not just the version of you that's still healing, not just the version of you that feels broken sometimes, but the version of you that refused to give up, because that matters more than you realized. You didn't quit, even when it got heavy, even when it got confusing, even when it felt like nothing was changing. You stayed. You stayed in your healing. You stayed in your truth. You stayed committed to becoming someone different than what you came from. Do you understand how powerful that is? Because a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people run from themselves. They numb, they distract, they avoid. But you faced it. You felt it. You're still feeling it. And I know that doesn't always feel like strength, but it is. It's a different kind of strength. One that's not loud. It's not performative. It's not something people always recognize or celebrate, but it's real. It's the kind of strength that changes your life from the inside out. And I need you to start honoring that. Not just when you arrive, not just when everything finally makes sense, not just when you feel healed, but right now, in the middle of your becoming, because there is a version of you, a future version of you who is already living the life you're working toward. And she's looking back at you right now with so much love, not disappointment, not judgment, pure unconditional love, because she knows what it took for you to get to her. She knows the nights you cried and didn't tell anyone. She knows the moments you wanted to give up but didn't. She knows how hard it was to choose yourself when you weren't used to being chosen. She knows. And if she could speak to you right now, she wouldn't rush you. She wouldn't tell you to hurry up and heal. She would gently remind you, thank you for not giving up on me. My love, let that sink in. Everything you're doing right now, every boundary you're setting, every truth you're facing, every time you choose peace over chaos, you're doing that for her. You're doing that for the life you haven't fully stepped in yet. And I know it's hard to stay connected to something you can't fully see yet, but that doesn't make it any less real. Your future is being built in the decision you're making today. And those are not the perfect ones, but the intentional ones, even the small ones, and especially the small ones. Choosing to rest when you need it, choosing to walk away from what drains you, choosing to sit with your emotions instead of running from them. That's where your life is shifting. That's where things are changing. Even if it doesn't look dramatic, even if it doesn't feel like a breakthrough, it's happening in those quiet, consistent moments. And my love, I want you to trust that. I want you to trust yourself, because somewhere along the way, you were taught not to. Maybe you were taught to question your feelings, to doubt your instincts, to shrink your voice. But that version of you, she did what she had to survive. And now you get to learn a new way. You get to rebuild trust with yourself slowly, gently, honestly. And that's not going to happen overnight. There will be days where you fall back into old patterns, old habits. There will be days where you question everything again. There will be days where you feel like you've undone all your progress. You haven't. You haven't undone anything, because growth doesn't disappear just because you have a hard day. Healing doesn't vanish just because you feel triggered again. You're not back at the beginning. You are responding from a deeper level of awareness now. And that changes everything, even if it doesn't feel like it in the moment. So, my love, on those days, the days where it feels heavy again, the days where you feel uncertain again, the days where the old thoughts start getting louder again, I don't want you to panic. I don't want you to spiral in thinking you've failed. I want you to pause and remind yourself of this. I've been here before, but I'm not the same person I was when I first got here. That right there, that's growth. That's evolution. That's proof that something is shifting inside of you. And you don't need outside validation for that. You don't need anyone else to confirm your healing, because the truth is, some people will never understand your journey. Some people will only know the version of you that existed before you start doing the work, and that's okay. You're not doing this to be understood by everyone. You're doing this to be aligned with yourself. And alignment, it comes with distance. It comes with change. It comes with letting go of things that once felt familiar. And that can feel uncomfortable, because familiar doesn't always mean healthy. Sometimes familiar is just what you're used to. And growth will ask you to step out of that, to choose differently, to move differently, to see yourself differently, even when it feels unnatural at first. And that's where trust comes in. Not trust in the outcome, not trust in having all the answers, but trust in the process. Trust in the fact that you wouldn't be on this path if it wasn't meant for you. Trust in the fact that something inside of you knew there was more peace, more love, more depth, more truth. And that more, it's still available to you. It didn't disappear just because it's taken time. It didn't vanish just because the journey got hard. It's still there, waiting for you to meet it, step by step, moment by moment, choice by choice. So, my love, don't rush yourself. Don't pressure yourself to be healed by a certain timeline. Don't compare your journey to anyone else's, because what you're doing, this is deep work. This is generational work. This is the kind of work that doesn't just change you. It changes what comes after you. It changes what you accept. It changes what you allow. It changes what you pass down. And that kind of transformation, it takes time. It takes patience. It takes compassion. So give that to yourself. Give yourself the same grace you so easily give to others. Speak to yourself with kindness. Hold space for your emotions. Allow yourself to not have it all figured out, because you're not supposed to. You're supposed to grow into it. You're supposed to learn as you go. You're supposed to become, and becoming is not a straight line. It's messy. It's layered thick. It's unpredictable, but it's also beautiful, because every version of you that you outgrow, every layer you release, and every truth you uncover, you are getting closer to yourself, the real you, the one that existed before the pain, before the survival, before the conditioning. She's still there. She never left. You're just finding your way back to her. So don't stop now. Not when you've come this far. Not when you've already done the hardest part, which is starting. Not when there is so much more waiting for you on the other side of this. Even if you can't see it yet. Even if you can't feel it fully yet. Even if you don't understand it yet. Keep going. Keep choosing yourself. Keep trusting that something is unfolding even in the silence. Because one day you're going to wake up And the things that used to trigger you won't hit the same. The things you used to chase won't feel aligned anymore. The things you used to tolerate won't even be an option. And you'll realize you didn't just heal, you transformed. And it didn't happen overnight. It happened in the moments where you almost gave up but didn't. So if you're listening to this right now, if you've gotten this far, take this as your reminder. Take this as your confirmation, my love. Take this as your sign. You're not doing all of this for nothing. Nothing you've felt, nothing you've faced, nothing you've worked through has been a waste, my love. It's all building something real, something rooted, something lasting. So keep going. Even when it's quiet, even when it's hard, even when you can't see it, keep going. Because you are worth the life you're trying to create. And that life, it's already working its way to you, one step at a time. My love, thank you for stepping into this space with me. Thank you for choosing and staying with yourself in this moment. Again, just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not happening. Keep going. I love you so much, and I will catch you on the next episode.